afternoon, everyone, and welcome to News 3 Now, live at 4 on this Thursday. Susan, a little under the weather today. You may have seen yesterday.
She just can't catch a break at this point.
Well, she did catch a break.
Well, today, yes.
On her arms. Anyway, Charlotte Celeste is along. Good to see you again. It's been a couple days since you've been here.
Just a couple.
Here's what's making news on this Thursday. A U.S. Marshal is shot dead in a Rockford hotel, and the apparent shooter is in a standoff on the Illinois interstate. Our Adam Duxter is there with the latest.
A Dodgeville man accused in a fatal Beltline crash that killed a Lake Mills firefighter is released on signature bond. Keely Arthur is here with that.
And our snow piles don't look quite so bad when you compare them to what's happening in Colorado. It's high country. There they are, avalanches. Yikes. It's one thing we don't have.
Yeah, it could be worse, right? It could always be worse.
It could be worse. Let's take a look outside on this Thursday. Not a bad day. It almost felt warm, you know?
We're getting there.
Relatively speaking. And the weather words, just a little snow tonight. Dana Fulton's in the backyard weather patio where it's actually pretty nice out.
Yeah, it's not too bad. Just a little cold, a little snow on the way. Everything overall pretty manageable for us. Now, today we hit a high of 22. Our overnight low at about 2 early on this morning. Near our normals, though, of course, now we're close to that in the upper 30s where we should be for this time of year. About 22, actually, for our overnight low for the average. 22 right now in Madison, that wind chill at about 13. Looking at our wind speeds coming from the southeast right now in the single digits, it won't be too bad for us overnight. And those wind chills in the teens for us currently, so it does feel a little colder than where we're actually at. Our Doppler track is going to stay calm and quiet for the next few hours, but as I mentioned, we do have the slight chance for some flurries coming through tonight. Looking at those temperatures, of course, we're going to fall heading into tomorrow morning, but not falling nearly as much. We got one rogue wind chill there. That's not right, but it'll feel like we're in the teens heading into tomorrow. Our first alert traffic doesn't look too bad either along the Beltline. Things are okay both east and westbound. And then as we look up into Sauk County, Columbia, and Iowa County, not looking too bad right now. And down into Grant County, not seeing any major delays. And in Rock and Greene County, all looks fine. From Verona to the Beltline, about 6 minutes, 7 minutes from Oregon to the Beltline. And from Springfield to University Avenue will be just about a 5-minute drive for you this evening. Again, overall, things are pretty quiet for us right now, but we do have the chance to see some light snow tonight. We'll take a closer look at this evening's timeline and, of course, this weekend in just a few minutes.
All right, it's not going to be 40 for 1 hour tonight? Oh, she can't hear us. Can you hear me now?
Now I can, yes.
It's not going to be 40 for 1 hour tonight?
No, that was just a rogue there.
All right. Thank you, Dana.
A U.S. Marshal is dead following a shooting in Rockford, Illinois.
The man responsible is currently barricaded inside his vehicle in central Illinois. News 3's Adam Duxter joins us from Rockford with the latest. Adam.
Well, police say it started this morning at around 9 a.m. at the Extended Stay America Hotel just behind us on Bell School Road in Rockford. That's when they say 39-year-old Floyd Brown shot and killed a U.S. Marshal that was there to serve a warrant. That's when police say Brown left the hotel, got in his vehicle, and started driving. Illinois State Police helped assist finding Brown on Highway 55 headed towards Springfield, where he barricaded himself inside his vehicle, and that's where he still is now. Those who were near the incident this morning say it all unraveled very fast.
I was getting ready for work, and next thing you know, all these police cars are just flying past us and things like that. Not thinking anything would happen or anything crazy happened. Maybe it was an accident or something, but then we got closer and closer to the hotel, and then I realized there was a lot more police, so we were like, hey, let's check Facebook, and lo and behold, there was a shooter.
And police say there was a third person also involved in this altercation, a female that they're describing as an acquaintance of Brown's. She was also shot in this incident, but police say that her condition is good. As far as a motive for what could have caused this, police say they're unsure at this time and that the investigation is still in its very early stages. But that's the latest from Rockford this evening.
All right, Adam Duxter reporting live for us from Rockford. Thank you.
A jury found a Florida police officer guilty in the 2015 death of an African American whose car had stalled at the side of a highway. It's one of the few cases in which an officer has been convicted of an on-duty shooting. 41-year-old Newman Raja showed no emotion as the jury read its guilty verdict. Raja was in plain clothes and driving an unmarked van when he drove the wrong way up a darkened ramp to Corey Jones's stalled SUV. Prosecutors said an audio recording showed Raja never identified himself and approached Jones aggressively, making him believe he was being robbed. They say that caused Jones to pull his legally possessed handgun. Raja then shot him repeatedly.
The truth will always prevail, and this is what happened today. It was the truth that convicted him.
Raja will be sentenced in April. He faces 25 years to life in prison. A man accused of killing a Lake Mills firefighter was officially charged in Dane County Court today.
Samuel Kremers hit Fire Captain Chris Truman on the Beltline on New Year's Eve, and our Keely Arthur joins us now with the very latest. Keely?
Initially, Kremers was arrested on tentative charges of homicide by drunken driving, but he blew a .079 during a breathalyzer test, which is below Wisconsin's legal limit to drive. So things have changed. He is now officially charged with knowingly operating a motor vehicle while suspended, causing death, which is a felony. His license was first suspended in 2014 when he failed to pay fines to the Madison Municipal Courthouse. While this new charge is less severe than the one involving drunk driving, it still carries a maximum of up to 6 years in prison. However, Madison defense attorney Tim Bierhoff, who is not working on this case, says it's important to draw the distinction between a suspended license and a revoked one. Suspensions often happen because of unpaid fines. Revocation is usually a result of an OWI.
Probably most frequently, suspensions are because of unpaid fines. A revoked license, which is not what he's charged with. Revoked license happens some other ways, like if you're convicted of OWI.
Now, Fire Captain Christopher Truman was stopped along the Beltline near Monona Drive on New Year's Eve to help another driver. He was out of his car when struck by Kremers. And coming up on News 3 now at 6, we will hear more from the Lake Mills Fire Department and see how they're doing in the months since Captain Truman's death.
All right, Keely Arthur reporting. Thank you.
President Donald Trump's former lawyer, Michael Cohen, has filed a lawsuit claiming the Trump Organization failed to pay nearly $2 million toward his legal defense. The lawsuit filed today in New York State Court claims the Trump Organization stopped paying Cohen's mounting legal fees after he began cooperating with federal prosecutors. And President Trump's former 2016 campaign chair, Paul Manafort, is being sentenced at a federal court in Virginia this afternoon. This comes after his August 2018 conviction on several charges of bank fraud, tax fraud, and failure to report a foreign bank account. He faces up to 24 years in prison and a fine of up to $24 million.
Condemning hate. That's the message House lawmakers hope to send in a new resolution. It's being brought up for a vote today after controversial remarks by one of its own members, Minnesota Congresswoman Ilhan Omar. Nicole Killian has the latest from Capitol Hill.
The House is preparing to vote on a resolution that condemns hate in all its forms.
Anti-Semitism, anti-Islamophobia, anti-white supremacy in all the forms that it takes.
The measure was drafted after several recent comments by Minnesota Congresswoman Ilhan Omar criticizing congressional support of Israel.
I want to talk about the political influence in this country that says it is okay for people to push for allegiance to a foreign country.
The resolution was initially focused on condemning anti-Semitism in light of Omar's remarks, but the wording was expanded to include other forms of bigotry after backlash from some House members who felt the Muslim congresswoman was being singled out.
At the same time, I think some are surprised that having been subjected to such attacks, they're disappointed that she's not maybe a little more sensitive to the way some of her own criticisms come out.
House Speaker Nancy Pelosi said she spoke to Omar and doesn't think she's biased.
I don't think that that the Congresswoman is perhaps appreciate the full weight of how it's heard by other people, although I don't believe it was intended in any anti-Semitic way.
Omar hasn't commented on the resolution, which does not mention her by name. This week she posted on Twitter, "We must be willing to combat hate of all kinds while also calling out oppression of all kinds. I will do my best to live up to that. I hope my colleagues will join me in doing the same." In Washington, Nicole Killian for News 3 Now.
President Trump weighed in on Representative Omar's comments on Twitter Wednesday, saying it is shameful that House Democrats won't take a stronger stand against anti-Semitism in their conference.
Well, avalanches, both natural and human set, have created another hectic day along the Interstate 70 corridor through Colorado's high country. Vail Pass is closed and will be closed for several more hours as crews clear 15 feet of snow that came down and covered lanes of traffic after daybreak avalanche blasting in the area led to another 2 avalanches coming down and covering the roadway. Another overnight avalanche also severed a gas main near the Conoco gas station close to Copper Mountain Ski Resort. An avalanche warning continues for almost every mountain area in Colorado through Friday morning. Wow. It's one thing I never want to see.
Yeah.
An avalanche. Well, Disney announced today that its visitors to its parks will be transported to a galaxy far, far away.
They are calling the place where they can live their own Star Wars adventures Star Wars Galaxy's Edge. Those adventures will begin on May 31st at the Disneyland Resort in Anaheim, California, and in late August at its Florida park. As Disney describes it, guests will be transported to the remote planet of Batu. Right? I think
so.
Right. Full of unique sights, sounds, smells, and tastes. Guests can become part of the story as they sample galactic food and beverages, explore an intriguing collection of merchant shops, and take the controls of the most famous ship in the galaxy, the Millennium Falcon. A second phase will open later this year that expands their experiences.
Another trip with the boys may be in order.
Oh, gosh, I hope they're not watching.
Have they been?
We've been to Disneyland, but they are going to want to go there and stay there. That's fine. See you later.
Start saving up.
Yeah, I know.
There's more to come at 4. The Beltline service truck has become a familiar sight over the years.
We'll get ready to see an updated version. We'll check out the brand new Beltline service truck when Live at 4 continues.
You're watching News 3 Now, live at 4.
Welcome back. After more than 5,000 calls in 2018, the Dane County Sheriff's Office is rolling out its second brand new Beltline service truck.
A new Ford F-350 Super Duty will hit the road thanks to numerous private sponsors. The vehicle answers calls for service along the Beltline, clearing disabled vehicles to keep traffic moving and keeping stranded drivers safe. It's a slightly more powerful one-ton vehicle with an improved lighting system.
It is a vital tool to keep traffic moving, and if there is an incident, have the ability, as you can see with the large signboard and the big push bumper, to move, pull, drag, push anything off the roadway so the flow gets back to normal.
The vehicle will run on compressed natural gas and features a memorial sticker honoring the late Bill McGowan, who teamed with Deputy Novotny when the service started in 2001. It operates Monday through Friday, 6 a.m. to 6 p.m., excluding holidays, from the interstate to the Old Sauk Road exit.
And Mark Zuckerberg unveiled a new plan to make Facebook a more privacy-focused platform. The social media giant CEO says Facebook will encrypt private messages and give users options for how long chats are saved. Zuckerberg did not include steps to address the sharing of user data for ad targeting and other commercial purposes. The company's faced strong backlash since it revealed the personal information of 87 million users. It was shared with a data mining firm during the 2016 election. Bad news from the European Central Bank sent stocks lower as Wall Street notches its lowest losing streak of the year. The Dow Industrials fell 200 points, closing at 25,473. The NASDAQ Composite Index fell 84, and the S&P 500 was off 22. Well, it's almost the weekend in the 608.
And here with a look at what's going on in the area is WISC contributor Emmy Fink. Welcome back.
I think you've just taken over the 4 o'clock.
I just want to see you.
The last 3 weeks.
This is fun.
Do you guys
Can we sing today?
We can always sing.
We're not. I don't think we have to sing today, do we?
Oh,
you know,
we'll
I don't think we have
anything,
anything, but we could always sing a belated.
Yeah, that's true. But we're going to start off with music, regardless.
We are all music all the time,
okay.
At least for the first couple. So Under the Street Lamp is a Rat Pack-esque quartet with a backing band that's going to play a little Motown, old-time rock and roll, hits by like the Drifters, the Beach Boys, the Beatles, and more. Sounds like a pretty fun show. It was actually originally booked at the Orpheum and then later moved to the Barrymore. So it's Friday, 7:30. Barrymore. Take note of that.
Mark your calendars. All right, we have one venue, 3 entertainers.
That means it's definitely worth the price of admission, right? If you get 3 entertainers, well, 2 bluegrass bands are making names for themselves. They're going to share the bill at the Sylvie on Saturday night. Horseshoes and Hand Grenades, you've probably heard of them. It's the band that came together back at UW Stevens Point in 2013. They're going to be joined by Colorado's Yonder Mountain String Band, and it's going to be fast fiddling jam sessions all night. So get ready for that, fans. Fireside Collective is the band that opens for this one Saturday at 7.
All right, so green is not required, but it might be a good idea to maybe pull that out.
I was almost going to wear it, and then I thought, no, I've spring forward, I'm going to go with the coral colors. But yes, green for this one. Get psyched for St. Patrick's Day a little early because you're going to see Gaelic Storm rock the Barrymore on Sunday night. Sunday Fun Day. This band was formed back in 1996. They've been touring ever since. They're known for their modern twist on traditional Irish and Scottish music. They're also going to mix in a little rock and bluegrass Sunday night at 7:30. They're like going all over the country over these next couple of weeks, so they're going to be busy. Yeah,
good for them.
Work like 3 weeks out of the year. My kind of work.
That's your schedule, isn't it?
Pretty much.
Well, CTM is back at it again.
They're always up to something, and actually it goes right along with your avalanche story from Colorado that you guys led off with. So Tibet Through the Red Box is actually based on a book by Peter Siss, and it's going to come to the Overture Center's Playhouse this weekend. CTM tells the twisting tale of a father and son separated during an avalanche. That sounds absolutely awful. The play, which features Tibetan culture and music, is geared towards teens. Saturday and Sunday shows at 2:30, Saturday night at 7, and then next weekend as well. Scary.
Okay.
I was reading about this. He makes the whole thing up. It's very interesting. The father makes up these
there's
stories.
always a lesson to be learned.
Absolutely.
That's kind of a scary bedtime story, if you ask me. I mean, you want to put these
That's a
kids
laugh riot.
to bed, you know.
All right.
A little early.
You have a couple of quick hitters.
Yeah, so in case you want to know, the Madison Symphony Orchestra comes to Overture Friday through Sunday. The Black Arts Matter Festival is at the Central Library Saturday through Saturday. And then Warner Park Community Rec Center has Family Fun Night Friday night from 5 to 8. Let the kids run off some pent-up energy before the weekend starts. It'll be a better weekend.
Yeah, I think so. The weather's going to be a little better, hopefully.
Yes.
All right. Thanks, Em. We'll see you next week.
Sounds great.
God willing.
Well, I'll be here. Thanks, you guys.
See you. Have a good weekend.
You too.
Get this month's Madison magazine for all of the best in the Madison area.
When we come back, history will be made in outer space soon.
We'll have details on the first ever all-female spacewalk. That's coming up after Dana's First Alert forecast. Take a look at this. It's the world's largest snow maze. So says the almighty Guinness World Records. It is 30,000 square feet in size, and it's downright snow-mazing. Canadian Clint Massey and his family created the labyrinth in their cornfield in Manitoba. They spent 3 weeks creating artificial snow for the project, then took another 3 weeks to build. The maze opened to the public in January. It takes about a half hour to navigate and has seen up to 1,000 visitors on some days. The family isn't resting on their laurels, though. They've already begun designing next year's maze with even larger pathways.
That's super
That's
cool.
amazing.
That is amazing.
Yeah, like the corn maze. Well, it's like the corn maze.
Yeah, I'm all right with that. Yeah, I'm good.
You're good.
Yeah, I'm good. Well, Britain's Queen Elizabeth published her first post on the royal family's Instagram page today to celebrate the visit to the Science Museum, according to a tweet from the royal family Twitter account.
What?
That's so cool. The 92-year-old monarch posted an Instagram about a letter in the royal archives written to her great-great-grandfather, Prince Albert, from Charles Babbage, the pioneer of the computer. not too long after posting. It had already gotten almost 35,000 likes and generated more than 600 comments. The post added, "It seems fitting to me that I published this Instagram post at the Science Museum, which has a long championed technology, innovative, and inspired the next generation of inventors."
So Queen Elizabeth is more hip than me.
Yeah, I have to admit, though, we were talking about this in the break, and you said the gram, and I thought you were talking about grandma. And it took me a while. I'm like,
no,
Instagram.
the
kids call it the gram.
Correct. So the gram posted to the gram.
Got it.
And that's
She should get a shirt.
Thing.
Give her a T-shirt for that.
Yes.
Good for her.
Good idea.
All right, do we have to Instagram about the weather, or is it going to be quiet?
Yeah, no. I think we could do some Instagram stories about the weather coming up.
Okay.
Yeah, I just started posting those, actually. We're looking at a pretty calm, quiet Friday for us, but the weekend's going to be a little messy. We'll break down your forecast right after the break. So overall, we really had some nice sunrises and sunsets over the last few days. Just a few clouds in the sky to get us enough color. This is actually a view of last night's sunset over Lake Mendota from Mariners Inn. Again, just enough cloud coverage to get a little bit of color, but a really quiet into last night. And tonight, we're really expecting a similar evening. Temperatures in the same spot this afternoon, mid to low 20s, and then we're going to steadily cool down overnight. Now, we do still have just a little longer. Sunset's about an hour away, so you've got time still to enjoy the light outside. Our Doppler track is quiet right now throughout much of the state, but notice we do have some flurries to the south. They'll slowly creep a little closer. We may see some light snow. There's a chance for some light snow, mainly south of Madison for us tonight. Overall high pressure ranging through much of the northern Midwest, but this area of low pressure crossing through the southern portion of the plains and the southern portion of the Midwest will be bringing some flurries for us as we head overnight. Even some rainfall possible for southern Illinois and Indiana, and southern Wisconsin is right right on the edge of that flurry chance for this evening. Not really expecting any accumulation along with that, but the chance to see some snowflakes, again, mainly south of Madison for us late tonight. All of that ends, though, by early Friday morning. We're just looking at a cloudy, variably cloudy sky for us throughout the day. Temperatures will actually be in the mid-30s for afternoon highs for Friday, finally getting a little closer to average. Slowly and steadily, we've been crawling on up there. Now, by Saturday morning, we're staying cloudy outside. Temperatures only dropping to the mid to low 20s for our overnight lows. But in the afternoon, this is when our next system is going to come in. Early in the afternoon or late morning, we start to see some freezing drizzle and maybe a few snowflakes early on, but everything quickly transitions over to rain. And we may even see some heavy rainfall spots at times as those showers slide through on Saturday. So again, that's starting late in the morning or early in the afternoon on Saturday. May see some mix early and then showers expected throughout the afternoon and into the early evening. And then overnight, we transition back over to that mixed precipitation. By Sunday morning, we have some light snow and flurries for us before everything gradually ends later on in the afternoon on Sunday. Clouds and moisture move east, and we steadily clear up heading into Monday, though it will be a little cooler for us for Monday after what is going to be a pretty mild weekend temperature-wise. Now, we may pick up anywhere from ½ inch to an inch of rainfall on Saturday. Of course, doesn't sound like much, but we do have so many storm drains blocked right now with all that ice and snow on the ground. It's not going to have much of a chance to just melt and clear out for us. So we could have some isolated flooding concerns on Saturday. And then on Sunday, not expecting much accumulation with the snow, but north of Madison, where they'll see snowfall for much longer, for even late of the day on Saturday. May see a little more accumulation to the northern portion of the state. So we do have alert days in the forecast for Saturday and Sunday, as we are going to have that mix early in the day on Saturday and then just rain expected. Some wind expected as well, some strong gusts for us on Saturday and Sunday. And then Sunday, the concern for some icy roads. We get that mix coming through and then a little snow on top of it. Certainly doesn't lead to good conditions for driving on Sunday. Overnight lows will fall into the teens. Of course, we may see a little bit of light snowfall and flurries, mainly south of Madison. And then tomorrow, we're looking at a high of about 35, mostly cloudy in the morning, and then a partly sunny sky for us in the afternoon. As far as our wind chills are concerned, to start off your Friday, it's going to feel at least like we're above zero. Close to 10 for us for our wind chills. And then in the afternoon, it'll be about 10 degrees below where our temps are at. It'll feel like we're closer to the mid-20s. Still a big improvement for us. By Saturday morning, our wind chills also in the teens. So it's not going to be dropping too much for us overnight with our temps or with our wind chills. Little good news there. We have those alert days just for Saturday and Sunday. The rest of your 10-day forecast not holding any alert days there. Temperatures heading into next week actually become just a little more tolerable. Now, we have a big jump there, notice, on Wednesday, but for the rest of the day, we're still going to be hovering slightly below average, but still closer to average than where we have been for us.
Above freezing every day but Friday.
Yes, yes, yes.
Wow.
That's a nice trend.
That's a very nice trend. Let's just keep it going.
Steadily moving on up again. By the end of March, we should be closer to 50.
Hopefully.
Yes.
There'll still be snow piles around.
Oh, absolutely. Especially the lone ones.
Smaller.
Smaller. In the middle of the parking lot.
Solid ice.
Yeah, it's like a glacier.
Yeah, it's been a run here. Thank you, Dana.
For the first time in history, an all-female crew is expected to conduct a spacewalk outside the International Space Station.
The mission is set to take place March 29th. That is the last week of Women's History Month. Tom Hansen has the details.
NASA astronaut Anne McClain is gearing up for an historic mission.
This is a new era of spaceflight.
Together with fellow astronaut Christina Cook, McClain will carry out the first all-female spacewalk outside the International Space Station later this month to upgrade batteries installed last summer.
It's important for a lot of people to look out and see someone that looks like them.
Female controller Kristen Facciol broke the news last week, tweeting, "I cannot contain my excitement." She will provide ground support for the two women from NASA's Johnson Space Center in Texas.
I think that we are really just, I suppose, symptoms that equality's been reached. Welcome to the Crew Dragon.
A Washington native, McClain has been in space conducting research since December, a stuffed toy named Little Earth by her side.
It's very important that we're keeping our heads down, we're focused on our task.
Cook, who is from Michigan, joins McClain next week. NASA says the all-female spacewalk is just a coincidence. It's the second of 3 planned spacewalks for the Expedition 59 crew. Tom Hansen, CBS News, New York.
And McLean and Cook were part of the 2013 astronaut class, half of which were women.
That's pretty cool
yeah,
stuff.
That is very cool.
When we come back, when is a halibut when it's not?
Mislabeling fish in markets and restaurants is a big problem. We'll find out why it's happening when Live at 4 continues. Here's a live look downtown, Langdon Street. Be quiet down there at this hour. It's chilly to be walking around. Well, the seafood you buy at the supermarket may not always be what it says on the label.
A new report found 1 in 5 samples of fish tested from markets and restaurants were mislabeled. Anna Werner reports.
Wherever we tested, we found mislabeled seafood.
Beth Lowell with advocacy group Oceana has been working to stop seafood fraud for nearly a decade.
The consumer thinks that they're getting a high-priced fish, and instead they're getting the cheaper alternative when they are being ripped off.
The group collected 449 samples from restaurants, small markets, and grocery stores in 24 states and D.C. and found 1 out of 5 samples were mislabeled. 1 in every 3 businesses visited sold at least 1 item that was not labeled correctly. The biggest offenders, snapper and sea bass, with 42% and 55% of the samples found to be fraudulent.
Well, the problem is seafood fraud can happen any time in the supply chain where one fish is swapped out for another. It could be because somebody wants to sell a cheaper fish at a higher price, or if they're trying to fill all the orders for salmon and there's not enough salmon, they may swap something else out.
Not only can that fraud cheat consumers, but Oceana reports it continues to find vulnerable species, those that have been overfished, mislabeled. Some restaurants are now focusing on using only local sustainable fish.
These are oyster shots.
Mayanoki is a tiny sushi restaurant in New York City. Instead of the usual tuna and salmon, Chef Jeff Miller creates sushi featuring regional species, like the one named Blue Runner, commonly known as baitfish.
The perfect American sushi fish.
But with most restaurants still serving imported seafood, Oceana says the government needs to keep better track of which species are going where.
We need to be tracking seafood from the fishing boat or farm all the way through the supply chain.
Last year, the government started a monitoring program for some seafood, but Lowell says only 13 species are tracked, and once in the U.S., they are no longer followed. NOAA, the government agency responsible for the program, told us that it tracks seafood that is particularly vulnerable to illegal, unreported, and unregulated fishing and seafood fraud, and says the program was not designed to trace seafood products after they enter the U.S. market. Anna Werner, CBS News, New York.
All right, be careful.
Be careful, be picky. When we come back, do you buy your airline tickets online? That might not be the best idea. Great. First my fish, now this.
CBS travel editor Peter Greenberg says the airlines don't tell you everything you need to know. This is good information.
Okay, I'm listening.
Peter shares his tips next.
It's Thursday, which means we're almost to Friday, so we only have 2 more days of the evening commute to worry about. We're looking at the Beltline right now at Todd Drive, both east and westbound. holding a few delays for us right now. Some brake lights popping on, but thankfully I don't have any accidents to focus on. So there's our good news. Throughout much of southern Wisconsin, we're just seeing the slowdowns in the usual places. As I mentioned, really the primary focus there, of course, the Beltline. On the eastbound side, things pick up just a little bit the closer you get to 51 or even 39 and 90, back up to about 60 miles per hour there. But if you're a little closer to downtown or at least through 151, of course, traffic reduced quite a bit on the eastbound side. Getting closer to Gammon Road, speeds pick back up through Middleton. A few delays when you're on 12, but that's just near the exit ramps. Again, no major delays. Westbound side, we are seeing a few slowdowns there, just west of 51. And then, of course, downtown also seeing just a few delays, but nothing too major or nothing that's out of the norm. Up into Sauk County, looking through Columbia County, also part of Iowa County, not seeing any major delays. Dodgeville looks good. Through Platteville, also looking okay right now. And if we bounce towards Janesville downtown, the usual brake lights and spots, but most of Rock County seems to be just fine for the evening. Now, if you're traveling northbound from Verona to the Beltline, be about a 6-minute drive. Westbound from Oregon to the Beltline, 8 minutes. And then heading eastbound on Springfield to University Avenue, about a 4-minute drive for you this evening. Drive should be smooth. No weather concerns for us tonight, or at least through the next few hours for your commute home. We may see a few flurries, but that won't affect you, at least again, through your evening commute. That's a quick look at traffic.
Thank you, Dana. NASA has released first ever images showing supersonic jets interacting with shock waves in a sonic boom. Advanced photo technology was used to capture the T-38s breaking the sound barrier. The tech was able to visualize intersecting pressure waves, which, according to NASA, is a first. The agency says the key was timing. The T-38s flew in formation directly below a plane outfitted with the imaging system. This data may allow future jets to be designed to break the sound barrier without the loud sonic boom.
My head hurts.
I know, I know. I will not repeat that. Just let that soak in, but this is amazing.
Yeah, it is amazing.
This is cool stuff.
That's NASA for you.
That's smart people.
It's rocket scientists.
Way above our pay grade.
Well, spring right around the corner and the summer travel season not far behind. A lot of people will be shopping for airline tickets.
But as in most things, there are right ways and wrong ways about booking the seat on your next flight. CBS travel expert Peter Greenberg has certain things your airline will not tell you.
We talked with Peter from the CBS studios in New York about his top airline travel tips.
Yeah, the first, it affects everybody because most of the people watching this show probably make the same mistake that I used to make, and that is you make your airline reservations online. Now, I'm not opposed to going online, but when you just depend on it entirely, you're doing yourself a great disservice because only 52% of the available inventory is online. It's only what the travel providers want to make available. So when you're sitting there at 2 o'clock in the morning in your bathrobe, very happy and lazy and satisfied that you're hitting all the right keystrokes, you are in fact disenfranchising yourself from 48% of what's actually out there. So go back to the future, go ahead and look online, but then have a conversation with the airline directly, because what that res agent is looking at on their screen, I guarantee you, is not what you're looking at on your screen. That also applies, by the way, to the seating chart. How many times have you gone online to the seating chart and found the only thing left were those dreaded center seats? Once again, the airlines tend to hold back about 30% of the seats, and instead of trying to upsell you to the, the more expensive premium economy seat, have that conversation. You may find that window or aisle seat in coach that you wanted in the first place.
So pick up the phone. That's pretty easy.
It's not a bad idea. There's one other thing you need to do. If you're going to research a fare online and you're not sure if you're going to use it or not, and you come back a little bit later, there's a usually large chance that it's going to be more expensive because they know it's you. So if you want to research online and then come back later, either clean out your cookies or use somebody else's computer.
Interesting.
The other thing you want to talk about is the fact that it's a question of the route that you take. It's not just a question of going from point A to point B. That's what the internet does. It thinks in a linear way. But let's say you want to go from Los Angeles to Hawaii. Most people would fly that nonstop and pay a premium for that. But if you went Los Angeles, Las Vegas, Hawaii, or Los Angeles, Phoenix, Hawaii, you could save up to $300. That's a huge difference by turning the map on its head. That again comes from having a conversation. You're not necessarily going to find that online. And then there's my favorite one, positioning flights. People don't understand that airlines sometimes just have to move planes, and the fact that you're on it is coincidence. So, for example, Denver to Los Angeles. United Airlines flies A320 planes and 737s all day long. But once a day, they fly a big 777. That's not because they want to. It's because they need that plane in LA so that it becomes the next flight to Tokyo. So when you look down the airline schedule and you see 737, 737, 737, 777, that's the one you want. It'll be empty, you'll have a better service, you'll have a better deal, and you'll get there.
Well, that's a good one.
Yeah, you bet.
So, the big thing, everybody wants the best deal. When to buy the ticket, you know.
Right.
Is there a magic time?
Well, there was a magic time. It used to be Tuesday at midnight. In the days when you have a lot of airfare sales over the weekends and people were matching and slashing and matching and slashing. Now, it's not about the day of the week. It's about how far in advance you want to book. And the sweet spot is between 25 and 54 days out, because the algorithms that the airlines use in their computer modeling will tell you how many people flew last year on this day, 2 years ago on this day, and this day. Well, if those computer models don't hold up in terms of their load factors between 25 and 54 days out, the law of supply and demand takes over, airfares come down, you benefit. So unless you're booking the Wednesday before Thanksgiving or the Friday before the Super Bowl, that 25 to 54-day rule really does benefit you if you follow it.
Good advice as usual, and some good secrets too as well. Peter Greenberg, great to see you again. Hope to see you soon.
You got it, man.
We'll be right back. Could be an interesting weekend.
It really could for us. We're looking at our next chance for rain to come through today, though. It was pretty quiet outside earlier this afternoon, getting into the low 20s for us. And right now, if we can go ahead and pop back over to Max 1, we can check out a high today of 22. Of course, that's where we're at. Currently, the wind chill, though, is still just a little colder. It feels like we're at about 13 right now with that breeze coming from the southeast. The breeze, thankfully, in the single digits, but of course it does feel just a little colder than those actual temperatures, and we are expecting our wind chills to still be a little bit of a factor tomorrow, but thankfully it's going to steadily warm on up for us. Our Doppler track is nice and quiet. We aren't expecting much to come through tonight. We may see a few flurries dance around between 10 and midnight, but that's mainly south of Madison. I notice those temperatures falling, and by the time we get to tomorrow morning, we'll be hovering in the low teens for us to start off the day. But yes, our next opportunity for some rain to come through will start up on Saturday. So we do have an alert day in the forecast for Saturday and Sunday, because that rain could make the roads just a little slick. Yeah. And of course, isolated flooding a concern along with that.
Oh boy.
We've been through this before.
We have. This is, of course, what happened about a month and a half ago now. Yeah.
And the ice is still there.
It's still there. A lot of snow, too.
All right, Dana. Thank you.
Tomorrow on Live at 4, Michael Bruno goes backstage for Theater Leela's adaptation of Romeo and Juliet.
And we'll find out what animal stories our news hounds Lola and Louie have dug up this week. That's tomorrow.
In today's Final Touch, and then there was one.
Down from more than 9,000 just 15 years ago. We're talking about Blockbuster video stores. There's actually one in Perth, Australia that's closing at the end of this month.